live stream. This is going to be a little bit of a different one. We actually had some dialogue in the chat a couple weeks back about fragrance layering, and I had a couple of you saying, do one of these on layering. And I've actually been meaning to do a video on layering for a long time. It's something I do constantly. There's never a day that goes by that I don't have at least 2 fragrances on my body. A lot of that is because of testing, but a lot of it is because I intentionally love to put certain fragrances together. And so I've kind of pulled out a selection of some of those that I think are really good for layering. I've also got a post pulled up where I asked a question of you guys months back, because I was going to do a video back then. What are your favorite layering combinations? And I actually got a lot of answers from you. And so I'm going to be showing you some of my layering combinations. I'll also be pulling from yours. And then, of course, in the chat as we go, you got to tell me what is it that you love to layer? What are some of your favorites for that purpose? But as usual on the Friday streams, I'm going to go back and forth between talking about fragrances and then interacting with you. So please comment, please like the video, share the video. All those things are really helpful. And that way I'll know as you comment who all is with us. You can tell me where you're joining from. And of course, tell me what are your favorite fragrances to layer with. All right, I picked out mostly clones. You know, I wanted to keep it as accessible as possible. I might pull from, you know, some originals depending on where the conversation goes. But just with some very inexpensive fragrances, clones, things that are readily available and affordable, you can put together some phenomenal layering combinations. So that's where we're headed. So hope you will participate and jump in via chat. All right, I'm going to start with something a little bit old school. This is one of the first layering combinations that I began to intentionally do. I think that that's true. Yeah, you guys remember whenever this one came out, Detour Noir from Al Haramain. It is a fantastic fragrance. I mean, the presentation is horrible. Mine, you know, the collar has broken. All of the paint is rubbed off of the front. But I love it. I mean, it is still one of my favorite clones of Layton. I know it's not the most accurate. I get it. But I love the way that it smells. Some of the ways that it differs from Layton, I actually appreciate. Now, if I shove the cap back on, it's going to destroy the bottle. But anyway, so anything that smells like Layton actually layers well with a lot of different kind of fragrances. And I'm going to kind of pull out a couple categories and say, you know, this and that go really well together. I don't know if any of you have chatted yet. I haven't seen any yet. Normally by now I have people commenting, but feel free to comment, if nothing else, just to let me know that I have my settings right so I can see your chat. But anyway, if you notice brands that do layering like as a thing that you can buy, so like your Dua, Alexandria, some of those clone houses, they do a lot of layering combinations. Especially back 4 or 5 years ago, you had tons of them doing layering combinations with certain DNAs. Okay, cool. So the chat's working. We got Hendrix joining. We got Verdak joining. The world needs fragrance right now. Yeah, that's right, man. The world needs aromatherapy right now. That is a fact. Cool. Yeah, so keep commenting. So anyway, if you look at those brands, there's several DNAs that they use repeatedly for layering. One of them is Layton. There's a good reason for that. Another one is BR540. Again, there's a reason for that. Another one is, this isn't so much anymore, but you used to see a lot of fragrances that mixed Elysium, Raja Parfums Elysium mixed with certain things. BR540, if I didn't already say that, and Sauvage and Aventus. So these are certain DNAs. Number one, they're well known, but they have certain qualities, certain characteristics that make them very just interesting to layer with. So something about Layton-ish fragrances, obviously, is that it is sweet and it is aromatic. And one of the combinations that works amazing in layering, per me, is taking something that's got a lot of sweetness and something that's got a lot of aromatic spiciness and mixing them together. So I'm going to give you a few examples of that, things that just work amazing. So this combination right here, I have worn a ton of times. I mean, I have the real Dior Sauvage, but this is a pretty good, like a really good alternative to Sauvage. It's kind of like a mix between the EDT and the EDP. It's not as potent on the opening as the as Sauvage EDT, but these two DNAs go so good together because of the aromatic spiciness of Sauvage and because of the sweetness of LAYL. It's got its own aromatic spiciness and warm spiciness, but that combination in the fall and winter is just glorious. So again, be letting me know in the chat some of your combos. I'm going to mention a few, and I'm even going to pull some that you guys gave me a few months ago. Something else, so aromatic and sweet go well together. So for obviously spring and summer, depending on where you live, you might not want to wear something as heavy, as sweet as a Layton-ish DNA. This combination has been amazing. I've been wearing it for about a year now. It is like a compliment factory when you mix something that smells like Bond Number 9 Bleecker Street. I've got several dupes now. This one is probably the best value. It's really good quality, but it's still pretty inexpensive. It's like, I think around $40, maybe even a little less, depending on where you get it. And then something that smells like Virgin Island water. So this is Chez Pierre's Feels Like Summer, and it's actually a really good alternative to Virgin Island water. So you've got the same elements, right? You've got the aromatic. This is different. This isn't fresh, spicy aromatic. It's more green aromatic, but still, you know, green aromatic mixing with the sweetness of Virgin Island water, but both of these are warm weather appropriate. I don't know why, but this combination is insane. It smells amazing, and it really gets people's attention. I brought it with me on a trip to Canada, 2 little travel sprays. You know, the airport's so weird now about what you can bring, and I don't have everything in a travel spray, so I grabbed 6 or 8 travel sprays. They almost made me leave some of them in Canada on the way back through because I got a kind of a, you know, psycho gate agent. But anyway, I happened to have these 2 DNAs, and I started layering them on the trip, and I loved it, and I just got constant comments from people. So something that is green aromatic with something that is kind of sweet summer appropriate. Again, awesome combination. I have definitely loved that. I'm going to mention one more of mine, then I'm going to go to yours. This is just an aside. I mention this fragrance a lot. I'm going to do it again. If you don't have this cheapie, you are seriously missing out. Who in the chat wears Dunhill Icon? This is what I'm wearing today. I freaking love this fragrance. This is like one of the best $40 fragrances that you can buy. It is amazing all year round, super versatile. It is phenomenal. So anyway, really good stuff. If you don't have Dunhill Icon, it is one of my favorite fragrances, and it is a true cheapie if you get it on a discounter. So somebody's asking about what is the process of layering. So there's different ways you can do it. You can literally spray one fragrance, you know, on your body and then spray another right over top of it. I do that some, but what I do more is I'll spray one fragrance on one side of my body. I'll spray a different fragrance on the other side of my body. And the reason I do that is because you kind of get 2 different effects from that. You'll get a whiff of this fragrance, and then you'll get a whiff of this fragrance. And then at different times, they sort of blend together. And as you move, you're leaving a scent trail of those 2 fragrances together. So I usually do that because I do want to actually appreciate the different, you know, the nuances of the 2 different fragrances. But you can also just spray them directly on top of each other. Keep in mind the strength of the fragrance. Like, you know, another really good fragrance for layering is a good dupe of BR 540. This one is a really good alternative to the Extrait. And this is a fantastic fragrance for layering. You know, sweet things that you layer with this, or again, kind of fresh, spicy, aromatic things. It's just awesome. You know, this is such a powerful DNA though. BR 540 and the Extrait really is one of the most diffusive fragrance DNAs that you can buy. It's just, it's a, you know, fragrance chemical bomb. Even the, you know, even the original is. And so it's just created to project. And you can identify BR540 right away. I went on a cruise last summer and everybody on the boat was wearing some form of BR540. We smelled it everywhere. But it's a great fragrance. But the reason I mention it is this fragrance is so strong. 4 sprays of this and I will smell it for 12 hours. And so if I'm going to be layering this, say with something that smells like Layton, which I absolutely do that, it smells amazing. I would probably go with like, you know, 3 sprays of this and maybe like 6 sprays of this. You know, I'm sort of a medium to heavy sprayer. I'll spray about 6 or 8 sprays or whatever I'm wearing. That's kind of my norm, unless it's something that's really weak or really strong, and then I adjust. But if you want to get the effect of a truly layered fragrance, you want to keep in mind, is one of them going to dominate the other? And you can compensate with an extra spray or 2. All right, so Wells is asking, is Detour Noir still the best Layton clone? I don't think it's the best Layton clone, but I love it because it's cheap and it's really good. It's not as deep or as complex as Layton, period. Like Layton has definitely got a level of quality that distinguishes it from pretty much all of the clones. I've got a couple of the higher end clones that I don't even know that they get closer. They're just higher quality. Like I've got the Woods Collection Dusk, which is, it's a good clone, but it is actually more woody than Layton. And sometimes I like that, sometimes I don't. It's more expensive, and it's definitely a higher quality fragrance. It has that sort of niche quality of, you know, the development of a fragrance, and it's not something like this. You know, it's not very complex, right? It smells amazing, but you're not going to get different phases of the fragrance that smell different. It's not going to develop a whole lot on your skin, and some of the more expensive clones will. Detour Noir is still one of my favorites, even though I wouldn't say that it is the best. Let's see here. Spraying on skin or shirts. I usually spray on skin. There are some fragrances that irritate my skin, especially more potent Middle Eastern fragrances will irritate my skin. Generic Perfumes has a lot of very good, very strong clones. And some of those, if I spray them on my skin, it'll irritate my skin. And so, you know, I'll spray maybe on the back of my head. My hair gives a little barrier. There's certain places on my arm that are less sensitive. You know, back of my arm, a little more hairy there. But, you know, if I spray like here, some of them will irritate my skin, or like around my neck, some of them will irritate my skin. So, good question. Let's see what else we got. Josie says, I look like Felix from Stray Kids. I don't think I've seen that or heard that. I do hear that I look like various people different times. Wells says, hey bud, how are you? Any tips on the best clone of Naxos and Red Tobacco? I haven't smelled a lot of clones of Red Tobacco. I have the Paris Corner, Emir, Wild, and Tobacco, which is very good. There's another one from Monarch that I've seen at rack stores like TJ Maxx or whatever. It's pretty good too. I don't think it's as strong as the Paris Corner, and it's not as complex. Like it leaned a little more into the kind of vanilla sweetness. If anybody knows the name of the Monarch clone, drop it in the chat if you don't mind. But it's also cheap, like 20 bucks. But the one from Paris Corner is really good. The opening is a little different. I love the opening of Red Tobacco, but this one, the opening is a little sweeter. It actually has a little bit of like the way that Tom Ford Black Lacquer has a little bit of an actual like lacquer kind of smell. This one has a little bit of that in it instead of that sort of ashy, oudy smell in the opening of Red Tobacco. But this is a phenomenal clone, probably 85% similar to the original, very inexpensive, monster performance, 12-hour performance on my skin anyway. So it's really, really good. All right, let me hit a couple of your recommendations from my post page. Let's see, so somebody posted A favorite of mine is Rasasi Sator, which is a Gucci Guilty alternative, mixed with Gary's Den. That's interesting. I've never tried that kind of a combination. Gary's Den is a Dior Homme Parfum dupe, an awesome Dior Homme Parfum dupe. It's a little more floral and a little less oud leather than the real Dior Homme Parfum, but it's still really good. But iris fragrances are also fantastic for layering. I have this shelf here is like mostly iris fragrances, and I often will mix them. I'll either mix an original with a clone, or I'll mix like, you know, Valentino Uomo Intense on one side, Dior Homme Intense on the other side. So anyway, iris fragrances are great for layering as well, because they all have some similarities, but they also have some differences, so you get kind of a cool effect by layering them. All right, let's see here. What else we got? Wells says, thanks for the Paris Corner recommendation. Absolutely. Marie says she was going to say the same. Nobody talks about Amber Night, clone of Ombre Nuit. What is your view? I don't think I've ever heard of it. Maybe I need to check it out. Amber Night. Who is that made by, JP? Let's see. Joni, if I'm saying that right, says Art of Universe layered with Hawas Ice. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that's sort of like a, you know, YSLY sweet aromatic with that kind of like fruity amber of Art of Universe. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Let's see. One of you in the comments on my post is saying Tarathi Blue with Tarathi Brown. I don't know how I would like that. So you've got like YSL Tuxedo and Bulgari Tiger DNA. So, you know, patchouli, woods, vanilla mixed with aromatic green citrus kind of fragrance. So, you know, I've never tried it, so I definitely wouldn't knock it. Another one of you says, Oud for Greatness with Camra. I think that's a really good combo. Camra actually has oud in it. It's got a synthetic Middle Eastern oud, or at least a cheaper Middle Eastern oud. And so I could definitely see that combo working. Camra, I love Camra. I actually like probably the smell of it in the air or on others more than I like it on me, but I do like it on me. My wife loves it whenever I wear it. It's a real compliment machine. But mixing it with that sort of textured, spicy oud that you get in, you know, Oud for Greatness, Oud for Glory kind of DNA. So, yeah, that's good. What else you guys got? Tom Ford Fabulous layered with YSL Le Absolu. Now, is that Myself Absolu or why? What is Le Absolu? I probably should know that, but Le Absolu. I don't know which one that is. Maybe it's just Le Absolu. I don't know what that is. Oh, Myself Absolu. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. You've got that sort of sweet, clean, mixing with that kind of funky, leathery DNA, powdery, leathery DNA. So yeah, see, I love this. And I think the cool thing about layering, and one of the reasons doing a video like this is valuable, is because let's say you've got a dozen fragrances. I know most of you have way more than that. Many of you do. You're like me, you have a problem. But the value of layering is if you got a dozen fragrances, well, I mean, what is that? 144 potential layering combinations? My math may be way off on that. It might be 99. I don't know what it is. But anyway, yeah, you can totally change up your collection just by trying things. And I'll tell you, try things that you think won't work together. That is like where some of the magic happens. Things that you think would be a total clash. Sometimes it is a total clash and you're rushing to wash it off your skin 20 minutes later. But sometimes like it actually works really well. I'll tell you one thing that surprised me is, so Paris Corner Emir, the cap comes off of this one. If I pick it up by the cap, it will cause major problems. But Marc Antoine what is the fragrance called that this one is a dupe of? Hold on a second, I'll tell you. But if you remember when this came out, it was kind of a big deal because the one that it's cloning is a very expensive niche fragrance that was getting a lot of hype. And I'm about to tell you what it is. La, 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 la. Ganymede. Yeah, I don't know why I was blinking on that. Yeah, but Ganymede, it's a weird fragrance DNA. I like it. I didn't like it at first. It was definitely an acquired scent. But it's sort of like wet rocks and saffron and citrus, or maybe like clay, like damp clay, citrus, and saffron. But this layered with like blue fragrances, so like a Dylan Blue or something like that, sort of sweet aquatic blue fragrance, it is a magical combination. Smells amazing. In my opinion, way better than Ganymede by itself or those specific blue fragrances by itself. Even like YSL blended with this. Very, very good stuff. Another one that is fantastic for layering is any kind of straight vanilla scent. So I've got a bunch of different things that are in the style of this. You know, Mercedes-Benz Club Black. It's an awesome vanilla fragrance. It's like 80% vanilla, 10% ambroxan, 10% incense, and it just layers well with almost everything. I've got some other straight vanilla fragrances I would say the same. Two of the best layering fragrances, one way or another. Oh, thank you, Wells, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. If you have any generic brand, I mean reputable ones on Amazon or whatever, get something that's got good reviews. But ambroxan or ISOE Super, these will change just about any fragrance. They only change them a little bit, and both of them legitimately add strength to whatever you're layering. And so they'll add projection, they'll add longevity, because these are like crucial ingredients in many, many fragrances. I don't know, probably 50% of modern fragrances have some kind of ambroxan or amber max or amber woods or some form of ISOE Super or ISOE Gamma or whatever. They'll have some form of these, so these are excellent to experiment with. These are just two random brands. A bunch of companies make them. This is Oak City Beard Company. This is Myris. Get both of them on Amazon for very cheap, like 20 bucks. So anyway, let's see what you guys got. Santana says Latafa Gray with Maison Alhambra Woody Oud. Okay, so Maison Alhambra Gray, is that a Gris Charnel dupe? I'm not sure if that's what that one is. And then somebody's asking, what do I layer caramel and vanilla for a bit of a masculine touch? I would go with something, you know, if you've got something that is darker, so, you know, patchouli, woods, even tobacco, something that adds a little bit of darkness, even a little bit of spice. There's a lot of amazing fragrances that combine gourmand notes with kind of darker, deeper notes like that. So yeah, I would say something dark, even spicy, even leather, tobacco, something like that. That definitely adds a masculine touch, even boozy. I'm just noticing the time, guys. I'm going to have to end pretty soon. Yes, Liam Gray. Okay, so Liam Gray mixed with some form of oud wood. Gris Charnel with oud wood. So yeah, I've never tried that before, but I could see how that could work. You've got that sort of deep, to me, anything that smells like that Liam Gray reminds me of a rainy day. I don't know why, but it's like, you know, rainy day or like camping in the damp, you know. I love that kind of a fragrance, like a brooding kind of moody fragrance like that whenever the weather is the same. So mixing it with oud woods, you're adding a little bit of texture, a little bit of spice. So yeah, I could see that. I am definitely going to try some of these. That's what I tried. Most of your recommendations in my post where you gave me a lot of recommendations, I tried most of them, and I'm going to be trying a lot of these too. Man, I'm out of time, which really sucks, but another fragrance great for layering, Eros. You know, any of the Blue Bottle Eros fragrances are great for layering. you know, a little bit of apple, some vanilla, some aromatics, you know, mixing this with any kind of a, you know, even like a Dior Sauvage or like a Bleu de Chanel, something like that, a little bit of aromatic aquatic. What I try to do in layering is, if you've got a fragrance that has some extreme elements, pick something that's going to kind of counter those extreme elements. I think that's why Sauvage works so well with sweeter fragrances, is because it is so intensely aromatic, and so some intense sweetness, it just does something to kind of tamp down those extreme elements. So let's see, that'd be a cool video to see you testing some community voted layering. Yeah, absolutely. I probably will do that. That's a really good idea. I apologize. I've got to go. I'm actually late calling somebody, and then I got to go meet somebody in 10 minutes. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have an amazing weekend. I have 2 giveaways on the channel currently. I've got one giving away a really good clone of Silver Mountain Water. I've got another one that I just did today. What is the other one? Yeah, Silver Mountain Water. Oh, and then the other one from last week is giving away a dupe of Killian Intoxicated. That one, I'm going to be announcing the winner over the weekend. The Silver Mountain Water dupe, the winner will be in a little over a week, about a week and a half. I'm going to do a lot more giveaways. I have a whole box of fragrances to give away. So keep an eye out on the channel. All you have to do is subscribe, like the video, and comment on a video with a giveaway. And there's usually only like, you know, maybe 40, 50, sometimes 100 people who are entering. So, you know, if you do those things on a dozen videos, you have pretty good chances of winning. So just check the post tab weekly. I'll usually leave them up for a couple weeks or until I hear from the person. So anyway, have a good weekend. See you soon, everybody.